Apple released the second generation iPhone SE, the successor of the long discontinued original iPhone SE, just over a year ago as part of their budget iPhone SE product line. I bought it almost as soon as it launched, and a little less than a year ago, I made a review on why it's probably one of the best budget smartphone money can buy. Because of its incredible A13 processor and the longevity that comes with it, amazing build quality, and a great camera, but with its price staying the same even a year later, and with the release of new budget smartphones by other companies, this has definitely changed. So in this video, I'm going to talk about if this phone is still worth buying a year later. Spoiler alert, its value is not so great anymore. So this video is mainly going to be a comparison video, and I'm going to be comparing it to the Google Pixel 4a and Samsung Galaxy A71, which are $50 cheaper and more expensive than the SE respectively. And without any further ado, let's get into the video. The first thing everyone's going to see when they're looking at your phone is the exterior. So does the SE 2020's design and display still hold up 1 year later? Well, arguably, it's still the one with the best and most premium build quality here. I mean, with a glass and metal design and all, instead of plastic. But after Google updated their A series line last August, the SE is the only one here that does not have an all-screen design. And compared to the Pixel 4a and A71, its huge black bezels and only 4.7-inch 720p LCD display definitely looks very outdated, especially that even the Pixel 4a, which keep in mind is $50 cheaper, has an OLED display with a hole punch for the front camera. And the Samsung A72, which is only $50 more, has a 6.7-inch 1080p display, which is not only OLED, but also has a higher 90Hz refresh rate. And since the SE's display was pretty dated anyways when it came out, it definitely looks much worse compared to other budget smartphones 1 year later. But how about the performance, you may ask? Well, that's an area where this cheap Apple budget phone that's over a year old with an outdated design is still good at. When it first came out last April, it has the latest and greatest Apple processor, the A13 Bionic. And although it's not the latest processor anymore because Apple introduced the A14 processor last September, it's still by no means slow, and it's actually very fast. And it's definitely way faster than its current competitors. I mean, the Snapdragon 700 and 600 series and Samsung Exynos chips are slowly catching up, and some of them are slowly but surely even reaching 2018 flagship level. The A13 is definitely the clear winner here. It uses a 7nm process and has 6 cores, 2 performance and 4 efficiency, and got a Geekbench score of 3349, which is something that even the Snapdragon 888 in some phones can't even reach. So if you care about nothing but performance, and you're on a budget, this is definitely still the phone for you. And the camera quality actually holds up surprisingly well too. It's by no means the best or the most advanced camera on the market right now, but it's certainly still good. The image quality is good and crisp, and the dark areas of the image can still be seen clearly. The exposure is okay. Sometimes things such as the sky and stuff outside the window are kinda blown out, sometimes not, so this is definitely, not so good. And another pretty big downside is that there's only one single 12 megapixel camera on the back. So no ultra-wide or optical zoom for you if you're using this phone. But the video quality is still very good, just as on all iPhones. It can shoot up to 4K videos at 60 frames per second, and the dynamic range and exposure is pretty good in video. It also has the stereo audio feature, which can record sound from both microphones on the top and bottom. So if you play it back on a device with stereo speakers, the audio will sound very realistic, with each speaker playing the sound according to where the audio was coming from in the video. In fact, this entire video is filmed on this phone. Here's a video sample of the iPhone SE. So this is a video test of the 2020 iPhone SE. Yeah, it's pretty great. I'm currently editing my MacBook Pro, which I actually decided to keep. Hey, can you hear the stereo audio? Let me know in comments of how the mic sounds. But even though it's good, it's still surpassed by many other budget phones. I mean, the Pixel 4a has a better camera, at least in terms of photo quality, and it's $50 cheaper. And it also has a night mode and even night sky mode, which are features that the iPhone SE2 definitely does not have. And the Samsung A72 has multiple cameras, including an ultra-wide and more, so like macro and stuff like that. So arguably, both of them have better cameras than the SE in some aspects. But how about battery life? Well, it's absolutely terrible. So terrible that this kind of battery life won't even be acceptable in like 2015. So this phone's battery life was pretty terrible when it came out, but it's still acceptable. But it's even worse now. I don't know why, but I assume it's because iOS 14 consumes more power and the battery is degrading. But I don't even use my phone that much. I only use it for around 3 hours a day, but can barely even manage 30% at the end of the day. And my battery isn't even that degraded. It's still at 93% health after over a year of use, which is incredibly good for a year-old phone. Why is it so bad in the first place? Because of how small the phone is. So Apple can only fit a small battery in. It only has a 1880 milliamp hours battery, while the Pixel 4a, which keep in mind is $50 cheaper, have 3140 milliamp hours, which is more than 1.5 times more. And the Samsung A72 have 5000 milliamp hours of battery, which is the same size as some laptop batteries. And surprisingly, these phones have a way better battery life than the SE. And please don't buy the SE if you care about battery life. But you are probably asking, at least there's gotta be some other positives about this phone, right? And the answer is yes. But the only ones I can think of are that this phone has wireless charging, which is something the Pixel 4a and A72 does not have. And the fact that it's IP67 certified water resistant, which is also something that neither of those phones have. But other than that, these phones basically have the same basic feature set. I mean, they all have stereo speakers, although fun fact, the SE is the only one here that does not have a headphone jack. 4G LTE, mediocre front cameras, etc, etc. But now the final question. What configurations do these phones come with? And is the iPhone SE2 still a good deal? Let's start with SE, the star of the video. For $399, you get 3GB of RAM and 64GB of storage, which is definitely a bit small for 2021. Though you can throw in $50 more to get double the storage, but the same amount of RAM. And for $50 cheaper, the Pixel 4a comes with double the RAM and storage of the iPhone SE, which will definitely help keeping your apps open in the background. Although the 6 plus 128 version is the only configuration Google offers, so want more storage, well, Google doesn't have it. But for only $50 more, the Galaxy A72, just like the Pixel 4a, also comes with 60GB of RAM and 122GB of storage, and a better phone in many aspects than the SE. So the iPhone SE does not seem to be a good value right now. Has an outdated design, bad battery life, bad display, a single camera, and a base configuration with worse storage and RAM than its competitors. But if you care about performance or build quality, and with a nice bonus, a pretty good single camera, and you have a charger near you all the time, and like small phones, and it's on a budget, then the SE is still a pretty good phone for you. Well, that's a lot of criterias. But otherwise, get the Pixel 4a or Galaxy A72, the Poco phones, if you can get them. are also pretty good. They have better displays that are all screens and bezel-less, arguably better cameras, more modern designs, better battery life, and yes, they do come with a charger in the box. Yeah, because another fun fact, the iPhone SE 2 no longer comes with a charger in the box. And their competitors are just slightly more expensive or cheaper than the SE. A year later, the iPhone SE 2020 is definitely not a good value anymore. So, thank you guys for watching. Comment, like, and subscribe. Go follow me on Twitter at DJTechYT. Check out my website and my new custom domain I bought at djtech.org so you can track the progress of my videos and suggest video ideas and more. And I will see you guys soon.